As you all know, this whole community has been dealing with a horrific event today. 2 explosions on Boylston Street near the finish line of today's Boston Marathon.
This is like a bomb explosion that we hear about in the news in Baghdad or Israel or some other tragic point.
It was loud. It was really, really loud. And then people, just chaos everywhere.
I knew immediately it was a bomb. My people just had to put a cloud of smoke. People scrambling.
Everybody was going crazy. At first, it almost sounded like a cannon blast, but it felt so strong, it literally almost blew my hat off.
In times of crisis, we come together and we help one another. Moments like these, terrible as they are, don't show our weakness. They show our strength.
Make no mistake, we will get to the bottom of this. And we will find out who did this. We'll find out why they did this. Any responsible individuals, any responsible groups will feel the full weight of justice. Boston is a tough and resilient town. So are its people.
There were just families all around us with kids, yelling and screaming, and we just wanted to try and get away as quick as possible.
And we reaffirmed that on days like this, there are no Republicans or Democrats. We are Americans united in concern for our fellow citizens.
It was 24 hours ago that 2 bombs exploded right near the finish line at the Boston Marathon. Right now, the death toll stands at 3, with more than 170 people injured, many of them seriously hurt. The best way to summarize the feeling in Boston comes from Kevin Cullen of the Boston Globe. He wrote this in an article he called "A Perfect Day Turns Evil." This is how bad it is. I went out Monday night and bumped into some firefighters I know. They said one of the dead was an 8-year-old boy from Dorchester who had gone out to hug his dad after he crossed the finish line. The dad walked on. The boy went back to the sidewalk to join his mom and his little sister, and then the bomb went off. The boy was killed. His sister's leg was blown off. His mother was badly injured. That's just one family, one story. That 8-year-old boy from Dorchester is Martin Richard. His family today is asking for prayers and privacy. A vigil will be held for Martin and his family tonight. The second person killed has just been identified as 29-year-old Crystal Campbell of Medford, Mass. She was reportedly at the finish line as a spectator. We're still waiting on the name of the third victim. And as we wait, there are 2 main aspects to this story now: what happened and the investigation into what happened. We begin with that, and NBC News Justice correspondent Pete Williams. Pete, what do officials know? What are they saying?
Well, consider this interesting fact. I just talked to a person who's done a lot of bomb investigations who says that under normal conditions, it is possible to gather up 93 to 98% of the bomb devices themselves, even though they will be in little pieces and will be all bent up. Most of the bombs will not be consumed by the explosion. So they're optimistic that they will have, within a fairly short time here, it may take a couple of days, a pretty good idea of exactly how these devices were made. And already they say they have a rough idea of what components were used to make the bombs. Unfortunately, these are very common methods. There's nothing that really stands out. They say that the pieces were assembled in a pressure cooker, that there were ball bearings and BBs inside, some kind of gunpowder used as the explosive, with then a timer to set it off, and placed on the scene in some sort of black sacks. Whether they're backpacks or not isn't completely clear. But these sorts of bombs have been made for 20 years, unfortunately, with just these components. Nonetheless, it's one avenue of the investigation. The second avenue of investigation is asking people for still pictures and video, and the response has been amazing. They have, and pardon me for using a geeky computer term, 3 terabytes of video and still. I'm not sure I know how to translate that into how many minutes of video or how many individual still pictures that would be, but needless to say, it's a huge amount of material, and they say they're going to look at all of it. They're asking people who are leaving the airport, people who who flew into the race. They have people out at the airport asking them if they have any pictures that they want to share. So they asked repeatedly during this morning's news conference for pictures and stills. So obviously they believe that's a very, very important source of evidence for them, and they're pushing hard to get pictures. So those are some of the main lines right now.